Today I'm going to show you a potato chip block with a twist. And so I have it with lights, so very light value, and then darks. These are going to be a bunch of fabrics that I have that are black or dark gray, that type of a thing. And it's just a bunch of prints that way. For my lights, I have these fabrics that are whites and creams and kind of this beige color. So this should be a fun project. And this is going to really take advantage of value. So let's get started. So first things first, when it comes to a potato chip block type of a thing, you got to start with these chips. So these are what they call chips, or potato chips is kind of a nickname for it. Basically, that's any piece of fabric that is going to have a 2-to-1 ratio when it is sewn into the seam. And so commonly people like to do 2.5 by 4.5, but it could also be 1.5 by 2.5 if you wanted to go really, really small. I've also seen them as 3.5 by 6.5. That makes pretty large chips or bricks, as you could think of it, that go into a project. But for this, I'm going to go with the common one that a lot of people go with, which is 2.5 by 4.5. So it all starts with a potato chip unit here, and you get these off of scraps. And so for this, I can just take this and I can position this to where I get my 4.5 inches. And just simply cut that. And then I need it to be 2.5 wide. And there we go. So I have another white piece. And this pattern is going to end up being about 1/3 dark and 1/3 light. For this particular pattern, it definitely matters that you're going with light values and dark values. And you will see why as I form up the blocks and then the twist that works with these blocks that makes it so that the pattern emerges. And so for this, I'm going to have the classic setup initially to this block. And so I can have the 2 in the middle here. And so I'm going to have the white there. That's going to be my negative space or my background. That's one way that you can also think of it. And then I'm going to have these 2 dark pieces there. And then I'm going to set up another couple of dark pieces there and right there. Okay, and so now we have a basic potato chip block here. And potato chip blocks, as they are commonly done in this sort of a manner, is a broken courthouse steps. And so this is going to be the basis of the main part of the potato chip block, and this is where it's going to be the traditional block. And I'm going to need 3 of these for the project that I work today. But I'm going to let you know how you can easily expand this so that this is going to be whatever size that you want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on making these particular basic unit blocks. right, so I have this block all made up, measures to about 8.5 by 8.5, which is great for my purposes. And so this is a typical potato chip block, but I am going to add some things around this that is still going to have it be a potato chip quilt, but it's going to be a potato chip quilt with a twist. And so if I take a couple of these black pieces here, then I can put that there, and I can put a couple of white pieces around it, and that makes it to where I can actually have these extending out. And so how that's going to look is this, and then I could put one above it as well. So let's see, let's put this one here instead, I think. And we'll put that one there. And then I can go ahead and I can start adding onto it with some of these other blocks that I have. And so my table isn't large enough for me to keep expanding out, nor is the camera able to zoom out that far. So as you can see here, I have the original block, and I kind of have that coping strip in between, and then I have the next block. Now, if you look at it, if you look at the coping strip here, and then this is actually a block in and of itself. So if you ignored this part of it and that corresponding part in the center of the block on the next one, that would actually be its own block. So this is a way that I'm able to take this particular design and I'm able to have it be a continuous design without having it be like that. But this way I can do it, and this will end up looking like one long chain. And then I also have one extra twist that I'm going to put onto this. And so I can take two of these cream color pieces, and I can basically just have two of them together, and it'll basically be kind of like a rail fence that I can form up on the sides. So I can basically just do something like that, where I just kind of build those up. I can build it up on either side here, and this forms a wider piece. It also gives that kind of chain link sort of a look, more definition. So I think that's pretty cool. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this sewn up. Okay, so here is how it turned out. And I think this looks really, really good. The contrast is very nice on this one. And this is very easily expandable. What you can do with this is this actually goes out to 40 inches. And so you could double this and then just have one of these end parts not included, and that would end up being 76 inches. And then if you keep expanding it out the other direction, then this right here is 12 inches, and so you could just make up however many feet that you wanted. You could make up 5 feet, 6 feet, and do something that way. And so in that kind of a manner, this is nice and versatile. You could have the chains going vertically down your quilt, or you could have them going sideways. So it's very easy to expand this. I hope that I've given you something interesting to think about making next. Thanks for watching.